We have this 2011 Chevy Equinox lab vehicle that we'll be working on today. We're going over ignition systems, and you can see when we remove our airbox, our coils are located right here. So we'll remove these, get our spark plugs out, and see how our spark plugs are. Here we have our first spark plug that we just pulled. This was actually a 16 millimeter. So you can see the tip has some carbon buildup, and that's most likely due to this car not running for very long because it's a lab vehicle. It just sits, so this seems normal. So we've pulled all of our spark plugs out, and you can see for the most part all of them are a little black at the end. But what we'll do now is we'll test our gaps for our spark plugs and check with our specification. Okay, so here we have the specifications for spark plug gap. You can see it should be 0.035 inches, and you can see here 2 of our spark plugs meet the specification, and then these are just a little bit bigger. It's looser in there. These 2 are close, but could use some minor adjustment. You can see that one doesn't grab as much. Alright, so we're checking the resistance for the spark plug. We're reading around 4.88 kiloohms, which is in our spec of around 3 to 5. Alright, so here we have set up a spark plug tester, or a spark tester here, and then we have a grounding. Go ahead and start it, Matt. Here's the wiring diagram for the ignition coil. That because we have a 4-wire or 4-connector injectors, we're unable to test the primary and secondary windings for their resistance. If we were using a system like this with just 2 wires, we'd be able to measure the resistance of the coil because it just has power and ground. If it has 3 wires, it's power, ground, and signal. But with our 4-wire, we're unable to check it. So we can check one of these and see what its resistance is. The resistance is 6 kiloohms from Ben's finger through Matt's hand to Ben's hand. That was the worst way. We got 0.8. This is the resistance of a primary coil pack, primary coil winding. We got our Pico now. Using a different lab vehicle because this has a 2-wire rather than a 4-wire. So we feel like it would be easier to see our readings. And this is what we're reading. So you can see ignition coil. So you can see that's when we're grounded, and that's when we're in our dwell spot and when it's getting saturated. And you can see our big peak right here. Then right there, that's our burn time, or how long the spark is there. And you can see how it kind of comes in and out a little bit. So we're thinking there's a difference between our air-fuel ratio. Maybe it's running a bit leaner. So right now we're pulling a vacuum hose and seeing what difference it makes. So you can hear the difference. It doesn't really change it. Okay, so now we're going to be forcing a misfire just to see what happens. Okay, nothing yet.